What's up, guys? We're gonna roll beats, and today I'm gonna be showing you a technique you need to be using going forward in 2021. If you guys haven't subbed already, I'll turn post on, you should do so because it does help it a lot. So let's hop right into it. Okay, so I want this video to be a straight shot. I don't want to edit too much because I want you to see every little thing. Now I'll just play the beat we prepared here. So okay, very simple beat. So that's all we're gonna need for there. So I have Fruity EQ up here. So I'll just go ahead and tell you what we'll be trying to do is figuring out the mid and the side EQ. Okay, now these things are very essential for your mixing, and this goes for any drum that you use, and I'm gonna just show you how to use it. Right, I'm not gonna explain the detail. Oh, you take this frequency. No, none of that. I'm gonna just show you an example because I think if you just see the example with sounds that you probably use yourself, then you'll know how to do it. So we can start with this, and I'm using Fruity EQ. I know everybody doesn't have this, but I don't think there's currently a stock plugin where you could manipulate the mid and side. Okay, so I'll explain as we go. So let's pull this up, and we can just start with the first band. Now the first band is the regular EQ. Now pretty much in a nutshell, the regular EQ will, and I'll right click, I'll put one in here, I'll right click. Now you have stereo placement, right? The regular EQ is usually just everything. It EQs everything, all the left, the right, the mid, the side, right? And that's where you get all that distortion. So I'm gonna just show you what I mean. So prepare your ears. Right, so it manipulates the sounds completely. So I'm gonna just leave this in the middle, or we could just toss it to the side. So before we get to the mid side, I'm gonna show you what the left and right do. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's just literally if you were to, if you were to pan your instrument and EQ it to the left, that's pretty much what it is in a nutshell. There's a way more in detailed and boring explanation you can read online if you want to, but I'm just showing you how to use it in everyday life. So let's use this one as the left. So we go to stereo placement, let's go to left, and I'll show you what this does. You see how it's only on left. So now you can do some crazy things with your sound. So I'm gonna just adjust this. Now I'm gonna give you a tip. This is my personal tip, okay? Just how I do it. So I put it to the extreme, right? Right? And every time, no matter where I place my EQ, I always cut it in half. Well, not cut it in half, but cut it to 1/3. So right here, you may like this, but it's always best to keep things subtle when you EQ. So, just measure maybe 1/3. Okay, cut it here, cut it here. So I'm gonna bring it down to about here, and we can just use this band to, right? And this is to make sure you don't overdo things, because yeah, this sounds pretty cool, right? But in the overall mix, some things may peak and it may be too much. So we just want to cut it in half. So say yours is right here, just for an example. Cut this by 1/3 every time. And you can figure out your own stuff or own methods, but that's just something I want to share, just like a little tip. Now let's do the right, same thing as the left, but on the right, and you can hear it. All right, and I probably want to create a new one. Let's right click, go to left, up, right. And then we can right click again, shape. You can see how crazy this EQ is. It's so simple. Let's do something right there. Remember, cut it half by one. I keep saying cut it in half by 1/3. Cut it to 1/3 of the original. Okay, there we go. All right, so that's the left and right and what that does. So now let's go to the mid and side. Now the mid is just the mono. You're just EQing the mono. All right, so generally, you know what? We're just gonna leave it at that. It's the mono. Okay, so we go to mid, and I'm just show you what the mid does. You can see how it's like thumping, like it's got a lot of sub in there, but it's strictly on the mono. Now you see how crispy, like you probably had some pressure in your ears, right? When it was up here, you can see when you take this out, it kind of removes the pressure and everything kind of feels, and I'm just show you an example. So you want to use this very subtly, okay? So let me see. There's multiple ways you can use this. All right, now I don't use this one too much, mainly on like synths and stuff. I don't really touch it, but we could just try like a low shelf, and we could do an extreme. All right, so I want these frequencies. So remember the 1/3 rule. So we probably want this maybe like right here. So let's just pull it up. Okay, so that's the mid. So now the side. Right, and I usually don't touch the mid too much. Now the side, you want to pull up 2 of these, especially on your 808, because the side is what's gonna make it crispy. Okay, this is gonna make everything crispy. Now I'm gonna just do an extreme and show you what it does. So now you can be like, oh, that didn't do much at all. Yeah, that's because it's the so like, let me show you an example. The side is literally just like if you were to put your sound all the way separated, it's all those frequencies when it's 100% separated. Now this can, if you have 808s and kicks and they're clashing, you could probably most likely clean it up by just doing this most of the time. All right, especially if it's a simple beat like this. So what I would do is probably, and I'm gonna just show you how I would use this, and we'll do synths as well, but we'll go through it faster. Let's do one of these. Right, and then over here, do a shelf. Now, almost always for the side, okay? Don't mess this up. I take out the low frequencies on the side. Okay, now we cleaned our 808 up. So that's how you would utilize all of those. Now this is extreme. Okay, I don't come in here and do all of these like this, okay? That's not realistic, right? I don't even use these bands all the time, right? Just for a specific time, especially when you're mixing vocals and stuff, the mid and the side to come in handy. All right, so I think we can go ahead and do the other ones real quick. All right, so that last part was the tutorial pretty much. Now this is just extra. I'm gonna just show you like how you can use it on your melodies and how to apply it to, you know, the master if you want to. So we're starting with this one, right? So how we'll start this one is we could just open up and you can use a regular EQ. Don't think you can't use it now that you know about this, right? We just focus on the mid and side. So let's pull up a side, maybe pull up 2 of them. Oh, it's already here. So good thing we can see the frequencies here. So you can kind of put it over here. So I don't want those frequencies in there. So this is how I find the frequency. I go in extreme, and then you can pull it down with the band so you don't mess it up. Probably go somewhere right here. Then over here, could boost some right here. And this is all my preference. There is no secret to how I'm finding the frequency. It's just what my ear doesn't like. And I'm just cutting it out or boosting it if I like it. So I want to just boost it a little bit. So we can go ahead and, because I don't want people to think you can only use one of these, right? So let's do a mid. And you know what? Let's put the mid directly over the side. Now the mid, remember, is taking the low frequencies out the middle pretty much, right? So we don't want it to clash with any other sounds that may take up those spaces, so we can kind of subtly. Okay, now a cool thing you could do is, if you like where everything is, right? Now remember that 3rd rule I was talking about? What you could do is come down here and only click on this little number, this 103. And you can drag it and you can see how it's kind of smoothing them out. So now generally what I like to do is combine the regular and this and just go in the middle. Something like that. All right. So now let's move on to the next one. Now quickly, I want to show you something. Now I don't think you could do this with the stock EQ. because it does show. You could click here and you could go to monitor output, but I don't think you can actually manipulate it. So if you're in your DAW and you're using the stock one, and you're trying to manipulate stuff and it's not sounding right, that's probably why. It's probably because you can't actually manipulate the mid and the side with this EQ. All right, and if I find one that you can, I will show y'all that. So let's go ahead and delete this. Let's go here. So same thing. Now let's utilize the middle. So how we use this? Same thing. Just find a frequency you don't like. Woo, okay, yeah, that gotta go. That was extra loud. I'm gonna have to edit that out or something because that was loud. All right, so we could take that out for sure. So now let's do that side stereo placement. Let's do side, and you don't have to only do mid and side. I just never really see people EQ the mid and side. So let's take some of that mid out so we can make that 808 sound real crispy. Shape, low shelf. We can just maybe do something. Oh wait. All right, I like that. So there's that one, and I'm just showing you different ways to do it. So now the last one, which is the entire, and I'll play everything together. You see how everything is kind of it's crispy right now, a little too crispy. So we can just back off a little bit. Back off with this 808 just a tiny bit. All right, I think that's a healthy mix right there. We could obviously do more, but I'm just trying to get through this. So now we have this. Now we're gonna switch it up and we're gonna do a little a little automation. Okay, so we can come to this bass part. So generally what you want to do is just take a part that you like. So I like the thump of this frequency. So what we're going to do is right click and go to make dynamic. Now you've probably seen this before and you're like, what is that? Basically it's just whenever this frequency hits, it's going to pull it up to right here, right? So wherever this little ghost frequency is, so we can pull it down, right? So the EQ is right here, but when this bass hits, it's going to thump it up, right? And that's gonna give you a real nice thump, and you can, right? And I think that might be too much. Yeah, you see that? But remember the rule, 1/3, stuff like this. So let's make 2 more bands to finish this video up, and let's make them side. And you don't have to do it like that. You can come down here and go side as well. And let's just make a shelf to clean this up even more. We don't need to, but you see how crispy that is? All right, and then we can, these drums, we want these drums to be crispy. Now I would do this on a drum bus usually, but you see how crispy those are? 1/3 rule, and we done. And there's more we could do. Now I could go in and obviously tweak this to my liking, but this is pretty much it. That's all I really wanted to show y'all for this video. Make sure y'all utilizing this, especially those who want to mix vocals and stuff. This stuff can help other than just EQing the entire stereo field, I guess. All right, so that's it for this video. Make sure y'all like and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.